Welcome back, everybody. My name is Paige Elizabeth, and today I want to talk about something that has quite the influence over what we seem to experience in midlife. And by midlife, I'm saying 37-ish to 45. The average lifespan in the United States is actually 78, so cut that in half, and unfortunately, that's your midlife. I know we tend to think of midlife as 50, but it's not. It's actually much earlier. So let's get into it. So the reason that I actually want to bring this up is because I don't think we give enough credit to what the planets do as they're transiting, all right? Midlife crisis transits happen to everybody if you arrive at this age, okay? They're collective, they're generational, they're not like something that some people go through and other people don't. Now, the experience can be very individual because of where the planets sit in your individual chart. But essentially what's happening is we are being asked to reckon and reconcile and confront and deal with lifelong patterns and ask the question of whether or not it worked and whether or not we want to continue. And I have yet to meet anybody who has made it through these transits and didn't have something to say about it, this time frame in their life, you know, because this is the time where people make huge changes as a result of these transits, and they either end up becoming the best version of themselves and doing the best work of their lives, or they kind of double down and they become more apathetic, more cynical, more set in their ways. And so, you know, this is where you hear like, oh, if she looks good at 40, she'll look good forever. Or, you know, like someone just kind of submits and then they end up just aging very rapidly, right? So these transits play like a huge role in our lives, but what we do with them is actually up to us. Now, the thing about the impact or the effects is that we spend our lives essentially building up a framework. Most of us are most of us are running from something. Some of us are running to something. There's not a huge difference between the two, but essentially based on our coping mechanisms, trauma patterns, and what we perceived as children lays the foundation for how we build our lives. So like as a coach, I find that people are always like, I'm not that, I am this, right? It's very identified or not identified. And the thing about these transits is it's like, are you sure? Because it confronts the core of what it is that you were trying to move away from or move towards. So people who are like, I just did what I was told my whole life, right? Or, you know, like I wanted to prove that I wasn't going to be like my mother, or I wanted to prove that I wasn't going to be in poverty the rest of my life, or, you know, you get my drift, right? And so this is why so many divorces happen around this time. This is why so many career changes happen at this time. This is why people make huge weight changes at this time. And as you move through them in the beginning, it's really, really, really confronting. They're very existential. It's very uncomfortable, and it can be quite crippling. So let's talk about the three major transits. So first off, you have the Pluto square Pluto. Now again, depending on where Pluto is in your natal chart, it's going to come and square that point. I went through 11 Pluto transits over the course of like 13, 14 years, and I thought the square to itself, that's the final icing on the cake, and then I'll have come full throttle on my entire chart, because that's the significant point. That tells you that Pluto has hit every point on your chart and now it's coming home. And I thought it'd be the easiest. Turns out it was the worst, right? Because it fundamentally uprooted my foundation and made me question everything. Like, for example, my whole life I wanted to get married and have kids. After that transit, I was like, oh my God, I didn't miss the boat. I dodged a bullet. I am so happy that I did not settle down with the wrong person and have children. Like, I couldn't have been more relieved. But going through it, it was very confronting because it was, in my mind, the last thing that could have been the antidote to the pain I had been running from my whole life. And turns out I was running from a lie, right? And that's what Pluto does. It makes us confront the lie. Whatever lie we told ourselves that we had built our life on, now we have to deal with it. And it's so miserable. It's so uncomfortable. I can't even tell you. And like that thing, like it's different for everybody. Whatever that thing is, it's unique, but like you will have to contend with it, right? I had one girlfriend, for example, who she's like, yeah, I got everything that I wanted, only to realize it wasn't what I thought. Right? So it doesn't mean that you necessarily don't get what you want. Sometimes you do and you're like, this isn't what I signed up for, right? The next one is the Neptune square Neptune. So again, same idea. So once you've had your Neptune square, Neptune has essentially hit every other point on your chart. And now it's coming back to make you look at some fundamental, foundational things. But Neptune is a little different. So Neptune is ethereal. It's dreamy. It's confusing. It's full of illusion, disillusionment, like you go through a Neptune transit, and what happens with Neptune essentially is the thing that we idealized our whole life. Now we're like, yes, that's definitely the thing. But then by the end of the transit, there's like a sobering reality check because the fog moves off and you're like, oh, that's totally not what I thought that was. And so Neptune has a very sobering effect in the end, but while you're going through it, it's foggy. And again, there's this existential feeling, and the only antidote is just faith. You're like, well, I've lost everything. Nothing really feels meaningful anymore. And I still have to get up and go to work and do laundry. So there's this like floating on a cloud, drifting, not really knowing where you're going, knowing that the anchor has been ripped out, right? Pluto ripped out the anchor. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know what your cornerstone structure is anymore, right? It's all been uprooted, and now you're just floating, and you're like, okay, well, now I don't even know which way to go, right? And that can be really disorienting. I personally find most people struggle with Pluto more, but if you're someone who really needs certainty, then Neptune can be just as disorienting because you can't see, you don't know. It's very, very, very like I said, foggy during that period. And these things don't happen. You don't go through this for like 6 months or a year. Like this is like a 5-6 year period of just like clearing the slate, digging up the old, starting to prepare the new, and you don't know where you're going. You just know you have to keep going, right? And then the third one is the Uranus opposition. So Uranus, I have an appreciation for Uranus because Uranus is all about drastic change, and it's sudden. It doesn't come with warning. It's just now you see it, now you don't, right? Or there was nothing and now there's something. The thing about Uranus though is it's very dependent upon your consciousness. So if you're somebody who is living your life and really leaning in to points of contention, discomfort, and just kind of willing to take the reins and take responsibility, then when Uranus transits occur, what tends to happen is there's a sense of like paradigm shifting, right? Like the change happens in this like light bulb way where you're like, oh, all of a sudden, and there's detachment, right? So like with Pluto, it's a slow, painful death. But with Uranus, you could literally walk out of your marriage and feel like you were never married to that person. Like Uranus just rips the Band-Aid off as though it was never there to begin with. Now, if you're not a conscious person, then these things tend to show up as painful events, right? So if you're refusing to look at what you need to look at and deal with what you need to deal with, then Uranus tends to show up as an event. So Uranus is known for shocks and surprises. Whether or not it's a shock or a surprise depends on your level of consciousness though, right? More than anything, I wanted to bring this point up because as women, when we go through these psychological changes, it impacts the physiological as well. And you're not crazy. It is temporary, but it does tend to exasperate because it's asking you to no longer live in duality, right? So as you're willing to come into a more authentic, aligned space, the body can recalibrate. But if you're trying to continue outsourcing and playing into old fragmented ways of living your life, then essentially things will just exasperate more. And that's why I wanted to bring this up. So it is temporary, but if you're feeling any of this, you can kind of get an idea of what you need to do and how you need to lean in to try to resolve some of it. Again, my name is Paige Elizabeth. For more content like this, please like, share, and follow. I'd love to have you on my channel regularly. Other than that, have a wonderful day.